Emergent properties are characteristics or behaviors of a system that arise from the interactions among the system's components, but are not properties of any individual component. These properties can be understood by examining how components interact within a system, often yielding phenomena that cannot be predicted by studying the components in isolation. This concept fits well within the framework of examining situations for mutually influencing elements and their grouping into triads. Let's consider three primary components or elements of a system, which we can label as A, B, and C. These elements can be anything from physical components, social factors, biological entities, or chemical agents, depending on the context of the system being studied. Emergent properties are characteristics that appear when simpler elements combine to form a more complex system. These properties cannot be predicted solely from understanding the individual parts. Individual components, A, focuses on the separate entities or agents within a system. Each component has intrinsic characteristics and capabilities. These might include physical attributes, behavioral traits, or functional specifications, depending on the system, biological, technological, social, etc. Interactions, B, refer to the ways in which the individual components, A, engage with one another. This could involve communication, energy transfer, material exchanges, competitive dynamics, cooperative efforts, and more. The nature of these interactions is crucial because it determines how the components influence each other, potentially altering behaviors or creating new pathways for action. Complexity, C, pertains to the degree of variability, connectivity, and dependency in the relationships and structures formed by the interactions of A and B. This includes the network of interactions, the feedback mechanisms, nonlinear responses, and the overall system's sensitivity to initial conditions or external influences. When A, B, and C combine within a system, emergent properties manifest as characteristics or behaviors that are not predictable solely from understanding A, B, or C in isolation. These properties arise specifically because of the complex and often nonlinear interactions among the components and their varied connections. Let's delve into the example of a biological ecosystem to illustrate how emergent properties arise from the triad of A, individual components, B, interactions, and C, complexity. A, individual components. In a biological ecosystem, the individual components include all the living organisms, such as plants, animals, bacteria, and fungi, as well as abiotic factors like sunlight, water, and minerals. Each component has specific roles and functions. Plants provide oxygen and food through photosynthesis and form the primary base of the ecosystem's food web. Animals vary from herbivores that consume plants to carnivores that eat other animals, and decomposers like fungi and bacteria that break down dead organic matter. Abiotic factors like water, temperature, and soil quality directly affect the survival and distribution of living organisms. B, interactions. The interactions between these components are numerous and varied. Predation and herbivory. These are interactions where one organism consumes another, affecting population dynamics and energy transfer within the ecosystem. Symbiosis includes mutualism, where both parties benefit, such as bees and flowering plants. Commensalism, one benefits without harming the other, such as orchids growing on trees. And parasitism, one benefits at the expense of the other, like tapeworms in intestines. Competition. Organisms vie for the same resources, for example, light, space, water, which can limit their growth and survival but also lead to diversification and specialization. C, complexity. The complexity in an ecosystem arises from interconnectedness. Every interaction ties back to others, creating a web of dependencies. For instance, the removal of a single predator species can increase the population of its prey, which may then overconsume vegetation and disrupt other species' survival. Feedback loops. These can be positive, amplifying effects, or negative, dampening effects, like predator-prey dynamics, where increases in prey population can lead to more predators, eventually reducing the prey population again. Non-linear dynamics. Small changes in one part of the ecosystem can cause disproportionate effects elsewhere due to the dense network of interactions. For example, the introduction of a new species can dramatically reshape the entire ecosystem. Emergent properties. From these components and their complex interactions, emergent properties such as ecosystem stability, biodiversity, and resilience arise. Stability reflects the ecosystem's ability to return to a state of equilibrium after disturbances, like fires or storms. This stability emerges from the balance and buffering capacities built through diverse interactions and feedback mechanisms. Biodiversity is a direct result of evolutionary pressures and ecological niches created through interactions and competition, leading to a variety of life forms coexisting. Resilience indicates how well an ecosystem can absorb disturbances or adapt to changes without losing its fundamental function and structure. This resilience stems from the diversity of species, each with different roles and responses to changes, and the redundancy in ecological functions. Different species can perform similar roles, thus backing each other up. These emergent properties are not properties of any individual component, A, nor a straightforward result of simple interactions, B. Instead, they arise because of the overall complexity, C, of the ecosystem, the rich tapestry of life forms and their interactions. This complex system exhibits characteristics that are greater than the sum of its parts, demonstrating the profound impact of interconnectedness and interdependence in natural systems.